Some believe that women are born with natural value, whereas men must create value for themselves. Reality affects men much harder than women. While many ordinary women want high-value men, average guys recognize where they are in the hierarchy. High-value men stand at the top of the social hierarchy, and again, we're speaking about high-value skills and traits here, not a person's basic value as a human being. Out of all men, they are the ones who have attained the maximum level of achievement and recognition in life. They choose to live life by totally different rules since many women are interested in them and several other men want to join their group. By the end of this video, you will have a clear knowledge of whether you are one of them, or at least understand where you should be recognized as one. Here are 10 signs of a high-value man. Number 1. Someone who has transformed their lives and is able to constantly do it depending on their choices. Do you realize how other guys wish their lives were different? High-value men always had the power, the abilities, the mentality, and the awareness of what it takes to accomplish anything on demand. Their life is a testimony to that. High-value men are men who, despite beginning alongside everyone else, have managed through sheer devotion to separate themselves from the others, and reach the top. Low-value men assume that having images with cars, sleeping with a lot of women, and earning a lot of money is what gives them high value. That's not it, guys. High value is established by what you're competent at, and your capacity to transform reality to meet your ambitions. You're looking at the results, not the reason. You can't fake it until you make it. When it comes to becoming a high-value man, integrity is important in this because it prevents the nonsense. High-value men have no need to pretend or declare that they are valuable. This public impression is a result of their major concentration, and not the other way around. This puts people in positions of authority over their lives. Number 2. In charge of his own time. High-value men value freedom and time as the most precious things you have. This is why it doesn't matter whether you drive a Rolls-Royce. If you drive it on your way to your 9-to-5 job and several other people are telling you when to show up and how to dress, that's not freedom, you're not independent. You might be a high-income earner, but you are not a high-value man because you cannot control your life. Someone else does it. This notion is called the silver handcuffs. The money is too wonderful, so you're sacrificing your freedom and your time for it. It takes many years before you discover you've made a lousy deal. This is why high-value men are in most cases older. You can't be a high-value man in your early 20s since you haven't gone through plenty of actual life to gain knowledge regardless of how many movies you've watched. Number 3. Recognized by other high-value peers. There is no such thing as a high-value Sigma man. Sigma males are those who consider themselves to be lone wolves. It's bullshit, and we've witnessed that ourselves. During our early 20s, we closed ourselves in and focused fully on making a life for ourselves. It took about 7 years to reach this point, and we regarded ourselves as successful, only to discover that in the process we had turned into an island. So we began constructing bridges. The big surprise was when we found that all those at the base of the pyramid were already hanging out with one another. Dedication and hard work prepare you to join the room, but you must create connections if you truly want to reserve your place at the table. We don't care whether you consider yourself a high-value man. The only way to actually understand is when other high-value men give you their seal of approval and enable you to join their club. Your worth is determined by the individuals you surround yourself with. There is a dignity to having a high value. Both colleagues and others below you acknowledge your efforts. That's why most guys can't do it. You could get lucky once, but you will encounter the same individuals you stepped on to get higher on the way down. Number 4. Has an extensive network. What it would take you 4 or 5 years to complete on your own may be done in 6 months if you have a strong network. Men do the great work in packs when it involves handling jobs beyond one's own competence. They exploit one another's partnerships, infrastructure, and expertise to limit risk. They trust one another to keep their word and invest their money and action wherever their mouth is. And this is why the wealthy are becoming wealthier, because they are working together to ensure it. That's the thing. Poor people truly dislike other poor people, which prohibits them from cooperating. Because high-value men have developed this lucrative network around them, some will rush to them hoping to gain favor. Number 5. Is an employer. High-value men are capable of providing a livelihood to others. This implies he is ready to generate opportunity, a framework, and a technique for individuals to take care of their own families. It's not just that you're a businessman. If you are strong in the company hierarchy, you may exert your authority and create possibilities for others. Although there's a degree of self-interest involved, the advantage given to the other party guarantees a place higher in the hierarchy. High-value men are capable of spotting opportunities when other people don't. You generate money and prestige depending on your capacity to look into the future. Low-value men have difficulty seeing toward the end of the day or perhaps the week. They frequently live from paycheck to paycheck. The average value men might observe near the end of the month or the quarterly. They are generally middle management or higher valued workers. High-value men visualize opportunities over years and decades. Number 6. Can afford to go away. The one who can decide to walk away possesses all of the power. If you're in a business dialogue, the person who can walk away from the arrangement because they can make it elsewhere on their own terms has all the power. If you're dating somebody who playing games and you're able to walk away, you possess all of the power. Others would discover you and they would place you on a pedestal since true power is unique. The more precious the thing you are prepared to walk away from, the more powerful you are perceived to be. This is why you can't place a high-value man in the friend zone. Number 7. Master of probability, not luck. Low-value men work by chance. High-value men work in probability. How is it possible that something will transpire if these are the resources? People are looking at them as risk-takers, but that's basically the opposite of what they do. High-value men look at the setup. How a condition is put together and how it will affect the outcomes. Then, depending on their abilities, they gradually change the odds in their favor, which they do on a regular basis. If your probabilities of success are above 50%, then it is worthwhile to perform the experiment for as long as possible because you will certainly win. That's why high-value men have developed systems around them. These men have attorneys, accounting professionals, and consultants. They have a broad portfolio of assets. All decreased risk and improved reward. Number 8. He is not an almost. So many individuals are almost in their outcomes. And you see that all the time when people say, "But I'm really trying." Or "I put in a great deal of work." High-value men just appreciate final outcomes. It doesn't matter how much effort you put in, that's something intended for minor league baseball, not for grown-ups. They take complete responsibility for everything that occurs in their lives. If anything goes wrong, they aren't prepared or brilliant enough to see it coming, so there's still room for improvement. Number 9. Life has to keep going up. Men gain value from development. A guy who's not progressing is a man who's simply waiting for death. Development for men occurs in many ways: professional, psychological, emotional, religious, and philosophical. A man whose worth is going down is considered as a liability, not an asset. High-value men are not subjected to a stressful period since their lives are full. If a high-value man were to die today, he could understand that he has lived a meaningful life, and that he has achieved the best of it. Development and satisfaction come from the manner in which you live. You could be the person with the most dollars in their bank account, yet you would still lose if you had not enjoyed anything at all. Most men live a lifestyle of silent desperation. They believe that someday anything will happen when they are capable of supporting themselves. Number 10. Reputation and legacy. Reputation is the most precious thing a man can develop from a status standpoint. From a legacy standpoint, children are the most valuable thing a man can have. Both of them are of enormous significance to high-value men. They understand that their reputation has to be safeguarded at all costs. That's why you don't recognize high-value men with low-value women, at least not in public, if you know what I mean. Men have social standing. So the person they prefer to associate with should boost his status. You can learn a lot about an individual depending on who they choose to establish a life and a family with. Because high-value men are concentrated on everlasting development and may create a fantastic lifestyle for the family, it's essential that their legacy be properly looked after. A high-value man is a competent parent, but because of the circumstances, he's accountable for more than the family. That's why the spouse has to be capable of raising exceptional kids. The various kinds of legacies a man leaves behind are his kids and his job. High-value men know that time is limited, and they need something to live beyond it. You are the result of hundreds of years of development and lineage that overcame enormous challenges. Although one may decide not to have kids while still having an impact on the world. It's a disgrace to let your lineage perish. Well, that is all for the video. If you find it helpful, consider subscribing and sharing it with your friends.